County District Attorney's Office is getting called out for how it handles death penalty cases. Harvard Law School's Fair Punishment Project released a report alleging an overly aggressive prosecutor, racial bias, and also unfair treatment for the mentally ill. Now, this report just came out today, and it refers to the process in the courts. In the meantime, the Department of Corrections has its own challenge with the death penalty. The I-Team's Vanessa Murphy talked with the director to find out how these criticisms are being addressed. Vanessa?
Denise, Nevada is a death penalty state, but there's no way to execute anyone on death row right now. The Department of Corrections is scrambling to address this.
He requested to be executed.
Serial killer Michael Ross was on death row in Connecticut in 2005 when he gave up the fight and said he wanted to die.
I was a warden at the time of one of the state prisons, and I had a position in the execution at that time.
James Zarenda, now director of the Department of Corrections since April, has concerns that could happen in Nevada.
We don't know when this happens. It could happen at any time.
80 inmates are on death row in Nevada prisons. Zarenda says all are in the appeals process, but if one of them asks to be executed, the death chamber has to be ready in 45 days. And right now, it won't be. You see, 2 drugs are needed together for lethal injection. One the state has is expired, and the other will expire in January of 2018. Drug makers like Pfizer refuse to sell the drugs needed for executions, so Zarenda says he's put out a national request to get the drugs.
Now what?
Just sitting and waiting until the process is done and seeing if someone will respond, or a company out there will respond.
The other challenge, construction. Zarenda says the death chamber in Carson City, last used in 2006, is outdated. A new one is being built in Ely State Prison for an estimated $650,000. It's expected to be finished on November 1st, but while critics of the death penalty call it a waste of money, Zarenda says his hands are tied due to state law.
Zarenda says the new death chamber in Ely State Prison will have multiple purposes. He says it'll have 3 rooms where meetings and attorney visits can be held, and it can be used for storage. A concern I heard from a defense attorney today, though, he wouldn't want to meet with a client in the same place where an inmate could potentially be executed. Dave.
All right, Vanessa. President Obama